Hey, it's Marthea Pitts, the MSW coach. I'm going to pin a comment and I'm going to be quiet because I'm typing. And what I want to ask, the question I want to ask is, what will your career legacy be? Right? So I have my notes, and my first question is, do you think about having bigger impact in your career? So it's not uncommon for me to meet social workers let me talk about me. Like in my pivot to macro social work, I wrote out a plan of action where I have it actually written out and I still use it to this day as one of the templates that I give my coaching clients access to. It's a part of my professional mission statement. And in the statement, I clearly wrote, 7-8 years ago at this point in my first macro job, that I wanted to be the preeminent expert on education and career goal attainment. Right? I wrote that out. I have the original copy. I still use it to this day. And it's all a part of the framework that I was creating at that time to pivot out of case management work. So if you're watching this replay back, if you're watching it on YouTube, drop in the comments right now. Like, even though you're not live, I still want you to tell me, do you think about having a bigger impact in your career? Right? And so, if so, what does that look like for you? And if you're not really clear how it looks like for you, I wanted to share with you some of the framework that I teach my coaching clients to help them get clarity around this. Because this question is a cornerstone to my 3 P's framework, right? So the 3 P's framework is comprised of 3 specific areas. Passion, that's the passions in your outside life, outside of work. How can we strategically blend that into your career so we can increase your job satisfaction rates, your career satisfaction rates? And then the second P stands for purpose. We're not talking about the purpose of life, right? We don't get that deep. That's what I always tell my people. When we're talking about purpose, we're talking about purpose behind your career. So essentially your why. What is the why behind your work? So with purpose, the purpose is around the why. The much larger aim is to get a clear understanding of what you want to be known for in your career. And that's what I want to guide you through, like give you a quick, fast version of guiding you through it so you can start thinking deeper about the impact that you will create in the world. And then the third P is population and issue. That's who you want your work to center on. What issue do you want to create change for, right? So when it comes to purpose, again, not life's purpose, we're not trying to figure out the answer to life. We're just trying to figure out the why behind what you want your career to be centered on. How I guide my coaching clients to getting clarity on is first we figure out like what you want your day-to-day work to look like, right? That's like and we baby step it up, but we start with that question. I have guiding questions around that. However, when we get to what do you want to be known for in your career? Part of the guiding framework is to either get clear on if you want to be known for X within a specific organization, if you want to be known for the thing within regarding a certain population. So let me slow down. So when it comes to an organization, how I always explain it to people is, are you the person that wants to be known for being the person that did an outstanding job with designing a program, getting a law passed, doing whatever your thing is under the macro umbrella? when you leave an organization. So essentially the question I ask my coaching clients is, what do you want to be known for at the organizations when you leave one organization and go to another? Like when you get different jobs, do you want to be known for a thing within a specific organization? So if that's your thing, then your why should be focused around getting clear around the impact that you're going to create within that specific organization. Right? So maybe you're like, I could care less about the organization. Then another area of potential impact could be for populations and groups. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to separate them. So maybe it could be a population, right? And so this is population on a national level, on an international level. Do you want to be known for doing a specific type of work regarding XYZ population? Right? And you getting clarity on that then helps you understand the type of macro work you should engage in to create the largest impact for the population as possible. Right? So an example is if you are like, I want to create impact for Latinx children in California. Like that's a population. You most definitely can do that, right? And you identifying that helps you get clarity in several different other areas. And I'm going to explain that before we end this conversation today. But I just wanted to be clear that impact can be regarding different arenas of where you work, right? So the first one that I covered is it can be the actual organizations that you work in, or it can be regarding populations as a whole. So maybe you work with an organization that's doing specific work around a certain population, then your work would be impacting them. And so then your drive, the things that you do in that position every day should be centered around ensuring that that population is getting the results that you wanted to achieve to create a lasting impact in your career. The third area or place that you can create impact within your career is for communities. This is largely for people who are interested in more like meso level with touches of macro level work. However, it could also be for people who want to do strictly macro level work where you are maybe helping to implement some type of initiative or effort that will later be duplicated around the country or internationally, right? So it starts off with small town USA, and then you're collecting the data and you realize the thing works. But then the long-term plan is that you're going to now duplicate this work around the world, right? So maybe you are interested in a specific subset of a community or a population. You would need to be clear on that. Like, this is my large goal to create. And I'll give a more tangible example. One of my coworkers, actually my supervisor in Washington, D.C., at my last macro job where I worked with a think tank in Washington, D.C., he was from the rural, and I am not going to say it right. Was it Louisville, not Louisville. He said that's not how you pronounce it. Louisville. Like, he was from the rural hills of Kentucky. So he was super passionate about workforce development because of his experience growing up in a very rural town in Kentucky. So much so it drove me to go want to learn more about like the historic, like what it's like in that part of the Kentucky hills. Apparently in that area, like all the type of work that's there to do is coal mining. Right, so he grew up there. His parents worked in the mines. His grandfather worked in the mines. However, he decided once he graduated from high school that he would move away to Washington, D.C., go to college, work. Eventually, he's working his way up to go to the White House and some other stuff, right? but it was all birthed out of his desire to create, like, the reason he chose workforce development. That's why I loved working with him, because I had never met, he was like we were connected at the souls, because we both were passionate about workforce development and youth and young adults. However, his driver was that he grew up in a very rural situation where job opportunities were limited, and it led me to actually read this book about the rural, the coal mines in rural Kentucky. I watched this documentary one time about it, and it's like, he is driven by creating more opportunities for people in rural towns like that. That's my point of that. So for him, his why is centered around very specific type of community, the community he grew up in. So much so that we used to partner with the state of Kentucky to issue them funding under the $2.5 million initiative that I co-led. Like, he was driven around creating more opportunities for the youth and young adults in his community. So maybe your why is centered around creating more opportunities for a certain community that you have connection points to, right? And so even though that would have been technically considered mezzo, and he was not a social worker, even though that would have technically been considered as mezzo, he still was doing it on a national level, because we work with a national think tank where we work with political leaders, federal leaders, we work with corporations, we secured funding, we submitted policy recommendations to get advocacy done on the Hill. So his why was birthed out of his community, but it extended much larger to national work, right? So when thinking about your impact, it can also be birthed out of your passion or interest around a community. For those that's been here, drop a 1 in the chat if you understood what I was saying. 2 if you need a different example. So for those who are just joining, I'm glad y'all here. Look at y'all on Friday talking about your careers. I love it. I'm asking the question, what will your career legacy be? Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Jackie. Sometimes I be deep in my example. I don't know. Thank you. So what will your career legacy be? I'm also taking you all through, and watch the replay back once it ends. I'm taking you through the process, a quick fire, like high level overview process of what I take my coaching clients through to get clarity around figuring out what your why is. Thanks, Jennifer and Amber. Thank you. Okay. Oh, thank you, Jen. Oh, look at y'all. I didn't know y'all were in here. Okay. So then the other level of impact you can create in your career is global, right? So we talked about organization specific, population specific, communities, but it also can be global. So this example, I'm going to use me. Now, when I created my why, I did not imagine my first macro job would be to be the director, having no leadership experience ever, coming from call centers and case management background, that my first macro job would be as the global director of a program. So what that looks like was, I'm going to take you through the process. My impact was around, I want to create more opportunities for this specific population, pregnant and parenting youth and young adults that are involved in the federal workforce development system, right? And so out of that, I used my why, and I ended up getting my first macro job where I then was responsible for creating this global program. So my why actually shifted to something much larger. With the first job, I thought I was just gonna maybe beat my first macro job would maybe be something like maybe U.S. regional, maybe like the Southeast region. However, I went full blown and I got a global job. And so in that, I was responsible for designing this 2-generational approach program. And so the program was to help pregnant parenting youth and young adults get high school diplomas, but also become their child's first teacher. I was responsible for being the creator of the thing and hiring staff and doing all of the things and working closely with the CEO around creating early childhood development curriculum for the parents to learn and be able to clearly assess like what their child's developmental milestones would be, but in a very interactive way where they was just using their cell phones, things like that. And it was all in an effort to get the children learning ready for school. However, that program, which they call it a pathway based on our accreditation that I helped secure, that pathway, once I created it, it was originally going to be in the U.S. However, halfway through the process, because we realized that this thing was way bigger than we even dreamed, because I was brought in to bring the CEO's vision to life. It was way bigger than we ever imagined. Next thing we know, we are in talks with other countries about them buying our program or sending their students to our online high school to be a part of this program. So something that started off population specific, really just only to the USA, maybe a small piece of it, next thing I know is morphed into this global program that's still in existence to this day. So my impact was multiplied tremendously, right? So I went from, okay, I'm maybe going to help a few high school students, to now I'm helping high school students in multiple other countries around the world. So your impact can be like based on what you want to do in the world, your impact can show up in many different ways, but you need to get clarity in that area, because it then helps you when you start getting into like job searching. This was what I was going to tell you. It helps you when you start getting into job searching. It helps you when you start applying to jobs. It helps you to understand what experiences you have that are of value when you are clear about your why. But bigger than that, right? Those are the things that people usually know about on the surface level. But bigger than that, how I help my coaching clients use those discoveries is by drafting a professional mission statement. So if you remember at the very beginning, I said on my mission statement, I probably didn't call it mission statement, but I wrote down and I said I want to be the preeminent expert around career and education goal attainment. That was a part of my mission statement. If I was thinking, I should have brought my original notebook, my journal, my career journal that I had from 2018, where I wrote that statement out, right? So you getting clarity around what level of impact you want to have in your career is very important, because it guides the development of the different things that you will do from there. And so with the mission statement, how my coaching clients use that is they use it to identify aligned macro jobs. They use it in order to draft their resumes. Right? Well, let me back up. They use it in order to determine if they're qualified for macro jobs. If the macro job is to assess, is this macro job going to give me the opportunity to do what I said I want to do in my mission statement? Break it down even further, to get the type of impact I say I want to have. They also use it to determine if they are qualified for the jobs. They use it to draft their resumes. They use it to draft their cover letters. They use the mission statement, all of this, right? The same mission statement, all of the clarity they did. They use it to do their interviews and to career plan, right? So the mission statement and the clarity around the level of impact you have is a critical piece, right? And it's the piece that that people don't do on their own. So it's very important that you spend time really deeply thinking about, what will your career legacy be? What do you want to be known for? And if you've been on here since the beginning of this conversation, drop in the chat, just listening to this conversation if you want to. What do you want? What will your career legacy be? Have you given any thought to it? Sketch it out now. I'm looking at my notes because I wrote a lot of stuff. So, the whole purpose of this conversation is, if you have never given any thought to it, I want you to start thinking about it today. So maybe you're like, Marthea, I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't have nothing for you. I can't drop anything in the comments. I want you to go back and watch the replay of this live, and I want you to start thinking about what you want your legacy to be. And I'm going to tell you now, this conversation does not apply to every social worker working the face of the earth. This conversation is only for This conversation will only appeal to the people who are thinking about systems level work, right? And you doing this critical work now, even before you feel like you are really at a point to start and apply on the application, will really give you a jump start. Okay, Jen says, research to drive policy change. I love that, Jen. I love that. So Jen's legacy will be that she is the person that has done some cutting edge research around her thing that will ultimately be used to create policy, change policy, amend policy, get rid of the policy. I love that, Jen. That's groundbreaking. Jackie says, building a healthy family system. I love that. Okay. Building a health. So Jackie's career legacy is that she wants to build a healthy family system. Jackie, can you give me a little more detail? How do you envision doing that? And I don't know if I know a lot about Jackie, so I can't even try to remember. I don't know if you ever told me, but go a little bit deeper. Do you want to do that? I'm just going to make up some stuff. Do you want to do that through policy development? Do you want to do that through advocacy? Do you want to do that through evaluation? I'm just making up some things. There are literally 1,001 ways you can make that happen. But I'm glad that you all dropped that. And so while Jackie's dropping that, I challenge you. Spend some time this weekend thinking about it. You need a why. I was on LinkedIn the other day. I'm going to tell you this quick story. I was on LinkedIn the other day because I'm on LinkedIn literally less than 30 seconds. I was on LinkedIn the other day and I saw one of my coaching clients, Keyshawn. He posted about the fact that he had just wrapped up a presentation with a school district, a professional development session. He's stepping into consulting. He's been doing that for the last several months. And so in his caption of the post, he said at the very bottom line, he was like, this is a part of my why. I was like, oh, using your professional mission statements, right? That's what he learned in the accelerator. He got clarity around what he wanted his impact to look like. His impact is regarding ensuring that Black boys have access in education or access and opportunity to attend historically Black colleges and universities. That's the mission statement he created 2 years ago inside of the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator. And ever since then, every job opportunity, every interview that he has, and he's been scouted by some big time organizations. Every organization that has been headhunting him, all of it is around the impact he said he wanted to create 2 years ago when we worked together inside of the accelerator, which then became his mission statement, which is AKA his why behind his work. So he shifted from having work that had no meaning behind it. When Keyshawn joined the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator, what year was that? 2021, I think it was. He was working on an employee assistance hotline. You know what that is? Where, the companies contract the services to help the employees with whatever life issues they're having. You issue referrals. He had just graduated from his MSW degree program during the height of the pandemic. Because he was going through his program during COVID, he could not do in-person practicums. So he felt really behind the 8 ball when he graduated. He came out and he had to get a job on the EAP assistance line. Keyshawn had extensive experience. He was in a job that he was severely overqualified for and had no interest in. He came in the accelerator. We did the framework, which is part of the same step that I'm taking you all through. He got clarity around what type of work he wanted to do, how he wanted to look. I took him through all of the processes. I taught him how to identify, apply, and interview for his dream macro job in 3 months or less. Within 6 months to 9, I think it was a little over 6 months because he took a break during his job search. He had 2 macro job offers within that same year. Right? And he since then has had multiple. But all of it is around his impact that he wanted to create in the world. So he's done it through formalized job opportunities. He's doing it now through consulting. He's doing it through speaking engagements. He's doing it through his books that he writes. But it was because we got clarity and he learned that he could do exactly what he had envisioned. He just needed to be taught some strategies and techniques to make it happen. And that's what he learned inside of the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator program, my coaching program. Okay, so Jackie says, building a healthy family system through advocacy. I love it, Jackie. So Jen and Jackie, I want y'all to write that down in your career journal. All right, that is the beginning of your why. All right, so Sunday, October 13th, I'm having a live webinar. How you're already qualified to get a macro social work job live webinar. Did you buy your ticket? It's only $25. It's Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be breaking down the top 5 transferable experiences every social worker has, regardless of where you work, regardless if you have a license, regardless if you don't have a license, regardless if you have a BSW or MSW. Right? It's a webinar designed to show you on paper how you're already qualified. I'm going to have live case study examples where I'm first going to be breaking down the top 5 transferable experiences every social worker has that makes them qualified to get macro social work jobs. I'm then going to be showing you actual live job leads. Right? Job postings. And I'm going to be showing you on there where these transferable experiences are the requirement to get the job. And I'm going to explain to you why they are valuable to macro employers. I'm then going to explain to you how you get this experience every day in your case management job. Because I teach people how to get macro jobs without having to go back to school, get another degree, take the motions, doing volunteering, networking. My people don't do any of that, right? But it all starts with clarity, which is what we went over today. But also you need to understand that you already have what you need. So that's why I'm doing this webinar. This is the first time ever that I'm going to be talking publicly. I'm taking 5 of the experiences out of my large database of over 30 experiences that I only share with my paid coaching clients. But I'm going to share with y'all the top 5 transferable experiences. This is an opportunity to really come arm yourself with some correct information to start making better, more well-informed career decisions and start really knowing and being able to assess for yourself how you qualify instead of going by the tons of misinformation that floats around on the social work streets. So that webinar is this Sunday, October 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The ticket is only $25. The link to register is in my bio. You get access for 3 days after to the replay. And it's 2 hours long. It would be great if you were live and able to attend the live webinar, right? Because it just hits different when it's live. So Jackie says mission, helping families with children and child protection services should focus on enhancing their parenting skills in order to regain custody of their children. I love it, Jackie. Look at Jackie. They refined it even more. I love it. Great job. Thanks, Jen and Jackie, for engaging. All right, everybody else, make certain you grab your ticket. Tonight is the last night to register. The registration will close at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight is the last night to register. And if you know me, when it comes to workshops and webinars, I don't run them back too fast, if I ever run them back at all. So I can't guarantee I will offer this webinar again. All right. Click the link in the bio and purchase your ticket. Happy macro career planning. Bye.